Hello, 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 ladies, and sometimes gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Create and Grow Your Dream Business podcast. This is so great. Today's talk is going to be so powerful because, first things first, I have the first male on the podcast ever. So let's start off with the fact that we are creating history today, right? And that's so beautiful. And second, we're launching the series called Women Becoming More. And so today I have the beautifully handsome Manpreet, and let me tell you guys about him really quick. Manpreet and I connected a couple weeks ago, and from then the energy has been nothing but pure, nothing but soft and calm and elevating. Yeah, we talked for like 30 minutes and my mind is already blown away. So before I give away all the juicy details of how great this podcast episode is going to be, I would love to allow Manpreet to introduce himself so that way you guys can get more of a vibe of what he does on a professional level, and then you'll see it all click together once we speak inside the podcast. So please take it away.
Thank you, Breye'l. And I am so glad being part of this historic moment for your podcast and being the first one. I've never been the first on any, so I've never been first in my school, never been first in my job. So I'm glad I'm first over here. That's historic for me too. And I resonate with you completely. That energy, our connection felt so pure and natural that it just called in. And in some ways, I think it was planned before we knew. Like we were supposed to meet this way and have this conversation. So I'm really excited, and feeling love to be here. Um, a bit about myself. I grew up in India. I was born and raised in India. And just like many of us, I do not come from um, a family that was affluent, rich, and I am blessed that was the case because I didn't become complacent. It kept me hungry. It kept me looking for the next. Um, I was raised thinking that money solves all problem, or I assumed when I have all the money, my problems will be solved. So that kept me always looking for the next, what can I do next? And it took me to the land of dreams, United States. When I was 23, where I pursued my career in IT, and I spent a little over 10 years over there. And I've been in UK 10 years. So I've been in IT over 20 years. And all along my life, I had these little whispers in my ear that were like, oh, maybe the life is supposed to be a little bit more. Maybe I'm not here just to struggle. Maybe I need to have something different. And all along, that something different answers for me were like, getting higher paycheck, making promotions, making more money, getting home, getting married, children, you name it. The answers I had. And yet when I did all that, I wasn't still empty. I did not feel I was enough. And it woke me up one day when I asked myself this question: if I was to die tomorrow, what would people talk about me? Did I make any
Mm.
difference? Did I touch any life? I mean, it's one thing to just take care of people in your immediate family, but beyond that, what did I do? It was just my IT career, and although it served a purpose for me to grow, it was not enough for me, and that's why I never felt enough. And that's where I started looking for old age, or other questions that people 10,000 years ago also asked, like, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And all these big questions led me to that inner journey. And for the first time, I started to go inside out rather than outside in. And it just shifted everything. And 3 years later, here I am having this conversation with this beautiful lady who has a beautiful soul. Like if you see her smile, you know there is a beautiful soul inside, wanting to do well, wanting to do more for the people and create legacy. And so that's me here, showing up and just trying to be a little bit more connected with myself and offering what I have learned through my journey.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You're so wonderful. And your story is so beautiful and it's so connecting to others, right? And you said something that was so powerful about going back and looking at others in the past time, right? And sometimes I think about how us in this generation right now, in these years of 2023, I know we believe we have it so bad.
Mm,
But when we go back and we look at the lives of those in the past, right, we recognize
mm,
that some of the same challenges that we're facing, they faced as well, because there must have been challenges and obstacles of the late greats for them to ask such deep
mm,
questions like, who am I? What is my purpose, right? Because I bet back
mm,
then, some people were just like cattle farmers, and some women just, you know, were feeding the children or just creating clothes. And I bet they had to ask those same deeper questions as well. Who am I? What am I doing? How can I become more? Because there has to be more than just my little small family on a farm, right?
mm,
And so here we are now, fast forward to today, where we're faced with those same challenges, those same questions, that inner deep work. And so I'm super excited for our talk today because, as everybody has saw in the title, you said something so powerful the other day. And it really shifted my mind. And I've been operating from that mindset ever since, which was the reality that I came prepared, you came prepared,
mm,
we as a collective has come prepared for the opportunities at hand. And Manpreet, I find it so interesting as I'm speaking to you about this. There's two mindsets that the women of the queenhood community could have. And anybody listening to this message, you can feel like you came prepared for trauma and chaos, or you can feel like you came prepared for greater, for the next
mm.
level. And I truly believe what you and I are doing here today is empowering the women to see that they came prepared for the next level. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it is powerful. And I would add that not only you came prepared for the trauma, your struggle, everything that you're going through. Not only you came prepared for that, you came prepared for the next level, but you came prepared for all. Like there is nothing that has happened in your life, and there is nothing that will happen in your life that you didn't come prepared for. You knew, like if you, I know it's a big and bold thing to ask, but if you for a moment close your eyes and let yourself sink into this idea, just imagine what happens when you believe or even entertain this thought that you came consciously
Mm,
prepared for all of this. It just gives you so much power. Like, imagine what kind of person you had to be. Like, you had to be goddess in your own power to know that you're gonna suffer, to know you're gonna have this life, and you still choose it.
mm,
That's where you have the power. If you knew, if you really, really made that as the backbone, that as the belief that you lean on always, that I came prepared for all of this, and nobody can ever hurt you. Nobody can take anything away from you because you have nothing to lose. You came prepared to give it all. So, I say claim that, attune to that, and you will never feel
Yes.
low
Yes.
or never feel not enough.
Yes. That's so powerful. Let me ask you this question. Just now you said that you mentioned like giving your all. How important do you feel like it is with the balance of, okay, knowing the women came prepared, right? So they've taken the shift. They're taking this next step with us, right? And now they may be operating under the mindset that, okay, I came prepared. I'm ready to take it all on. How
Mm,
does the mindset of coming prepared, how does that balance out in the like work life balance? Because I saw one of your posts on your page where you were saying how one day you went into your manager's office and they just had that
mm,
conversation with you like, this is it, right? Like you're going to be
mm.
let go from this moment on. I bet you probably couldn't have woken up that morning and was like, I'm being prepared to get fired today,
No,
right? But I bet
yeah,
you also had felt like you gave your all at that job. So that conversation was possibly a shock. And I know that some of the women are going to be in a space where they're ready to become more, right? They feel like they're prepared for the next level, but then the shock of life is still gonna come. How do they balance
mm,
giving their all but still loving themselves?
yeah. And the answer is in your question itself. I'll break it down. Uh, First, for my own example, that morning when I walked into the office, um, the conversation was about, they were negotiating my contractor rate, the rate I used to charge the company, and they asked if I can lower the rate, I can get more work because they didn't want me to work for the rate I was charging. And um, so they wanted to negotiate. And back then, if you ask me if I knew I came prepared, I did not. I didn't have anything job. The only thing I had, I didn't want to give them that power. I knew I was worth that money. I knew I could make more outside. Was I afraid? Yes. So the minute they asked, will you reduce? I said no. And then they tried to have all the different conversations, evoke fears, what if. But I just knew I don't want to bend down. And I don't know where I got that confidence. And I didn't bend down. They let me go. And a week later, I was back in that same office having the same conversation. Only this time I took 15% more raise than what I was charging just a week ago. That was me not giving my power away. And and I didn't know that would happen. But I think if I break it down, it came from something within me that believed in something higher, that I had a faith that I am going to be taken care. And and we all have that. If you just look back your childhood days, you were born, somebody took care of everything. You didn't need to
Right.
worry about food, you didn't need to worry about clothes. It was just taken care. Then some point we became responsible, we became in control, and we said, leave it to me, I'll take control over from here. Look what a mess. Like minute we tried to come in control, like we started to have all this fear that were instilled. We learned that fear. Imagine if we lived in that faith that I'm gonna be get taken care of. You, me, everybody listening. As babies, we had that unwavered faith in
Mm,
knowing that we can prepare, but also in knowing that we will be taken care. Like if we died of hunger when we were babies, so that was our, we can prepare for that, because people go through that journey. So the question is, how strong is your faith? When you are in this challenging situation, ask yourself, how strong is my faith? Who
mm,
am I making my God in this moment? Am I making my employer the God who controls what I eat, when I eat, who I love, how much I work, how much I earn? Am I making my God my higher self? And that allows you to, navigate through these waters. It's not that we're not going to have challenge. It's not that I am saying that, when you're having those tough conversations, do not give in or do not decide to stay in. In a different situation, if I was married, if I had kids, if I had mortgage, I may have given in, and that would be all right for that situation. But operating from faith, that is the key. Am I operating from faith or fear? If I stayed back and knowing that, okay, maybe they need, maybe the employer really doesn't have the money to pay, maybe there is no work and I need to make the ends meet, and I'll be taken care. And if I take care of that person, my employer, I'll be taken care. So do that, but do not try not to fall for fear,
Mm.
because it's not because you will be less, because it will leave you empty. It will leave you feeling not enough. But if you're in faith, it just gives you a different power. Like, you just know, it comes back to you knowing your own self worth, knowing your own power, knowing that you're going to be taken care. And if you're not, you're not gonna die. And even if you die, the worst come worst, everything is over. It's done, dusted.
No, but
So it
seriously.
is so much that we make things all, but well, they are not. It's just the fear, the voice of our lower conscious, if I may speak of it like that. So
Yeah.
ask those powerful questions.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is one of my mottos. But did you die though? Right? And I think it's our responsibility as next level individuals and on the women's side for women to truly become more and have to operate from the mindset of, but will I die? Right? It makes me think about how sometimes fear will paralyze us as individuals, fearful to go to the next level, fearful to be in that relationship, get that job, start over. But then when we had something like the pandemic, we were forced. And right, that's another
Yeah.
F. So we have like fear, faith, and force, right?
Mm.
And I created this podcast series, this podcast, my business in general, because we have to step out of not taking action because of fear. There's so many things we have to do afraid. Because, like you
Mm.
said, it really does help us figure out who we are. When I first started my business almost 3 years ago, I didn't have a clue how to be an entrepreneur, right? Like, I'm 29, I'll be 30 in June. So
Wow.
it's there's so many moving factors that I didn't know, but I made the decision that I didn't know how to handle my finances. I had to help women figure out how to handle their finances, right? Was I a woman who had $1 trillion in the bank account? No, I figured out how to save 10,000, and I said, there's some girl with only $300 in her account. I'm gonna help her
Mm.
figure out how to get to 10,000, and then from that, I said, I'm gonna help women figure out how to start their dream businesses. And then
Mm.
it dawned on me, I'm creating my own dream business. Like, this is what I'm living for, to connect with people in different countries and different individuals who are next level. But you and I both know, Manpreet, if I allowed fear to stop me, we would never be on this podcast episode right now.
Yeah, definitely. Um, it reminds me of two things that I'll talk on fear itself. There's one quote by Tim Ferriss. It says, "Fear is an indicator." So it's an indicator. It is not telling you take action immediately. Like,
Mm,
it's not something that is saying, "Oh, you need to do this." So fear is just an indicator. Sometimes it tells you what you shouldn't do,
Mm,
but more often it tells you what you should be doing,
right.
right? So it's a dance between that, what you should be doing, because I don't want to make like fear is wrong. Like if you're standing in on 20th story and you're all just leaning down, it's good to be afraid to fall down, right? It's not uh, nice that you think, oh, I'm just afraid, it's okay, let me have
Yeah.
my faith, I'm gonna jump over and
Right. You're probably dying that
no,
way.
yeah, you're gonna die. So fear is not bad, it's just an indicator. What you do with it, what determines what happens next. So,
Mm,
and that's where faith comes in, what happens next when you play the dance and you learn the dance, play the dance, the more you play with it, like you taking that action, not knowing it's good. A lot of people do not take actions uh, uh, because they are afraid that they don't know. But it's not, the fear is not rooted in, it being difficult. The fear is rooted in it being unfamiliar, right? When I'm doing a job
mm,
for 20 years, it's just so familiar. I'm just going to naturally do it. But,
right.
looking back the first day, it was unfamiliar. I was afraid to walk into that office the first day because I did not know what to expect, right? So when you're in a situation where you feel afraid of not doing, ask yourself, is it I'm afraid because it's something that I don't know, or is it something unfamiliar? 9 out of 10 times it's something unfamiliar, and the only way to become familiar is to just do it few times and few more reps, and you know what it is, and then you decide whether you want to do it or not. But don't leave it at the first time itself.
Yes, that is so powerful. Exactly what you said. It is the level of it being unfamiliar. And that's what's so
Mm.
interesting because I think that that's what's great about entrepreneurship in a sense. When you go to
Yeah.
work a job, it's already created. The structure is already created. The training is already created. But when you are striving to become more within your business, the power of creating and growing your dream business, you create the narrative. You place yourselves in the positions where you have to do the fearful things. But like you said, by the time you do some more reps, I'm so used to this podcast thing, this connecting thing. And like a lot of the women in my community say, well, you just make it seem so easy. You just make it seem so easy. But it is easy because behind closed doors, I'm doing the hard work. I'm sending the emails, making the phone calls, and it's scary. Sometimes you stumble over your words. Sometimes you're like, I'm Breye'l. What's your name? But then after a couple times, it's nothing, right? Because I saw you said something on your page as well, on your Facebook page, where you were saying after you spoke at the leadership virtual conference, you said,
Mhm.
of course, you said your ego loved the compliments, but the biggest part was the transformation and the energy inside the room. And sometimes I know a lot of women, they don't take action in their businesses because they feel like, I don't have the testimonials, I don't have the beautiful pictures, I don't have all of these things. But it's not until you take action to do something that you can get the applause. And the most beautiful part is, like we talked about the other day, is connecting to your truth. When you operate out of the energy of truth and your desire is to help other people get justice in any way, shape, or form, it actually is not that hard. You really don't get a lot of fearful situations placed in front of you, not real life scary scenarios,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And then
Mhm.
you realize, wait, this was easy because I'm operating in my truth. People like me because I'm
Mhm.
speaking from my heart versus trying to create something else that other people would like us to create. And like you said, from the childhood trauma, a lot of women are scarred and fearful to grow and become more because of the limiting beliefs that others have placed on them in the past. But the question that we're asking in this podcast episode is, what is your journey? Right? What's your
Mhm.
unique avenue and path that only you've been through? that you can then help others get through. And I can guarantee when you operate from the truth of helping others who've been through what you've already been through, it's easy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it goes back to the same thing. Like when you, the reason people stay in trauma and depression, it's not that they want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
At certain point, after a certain point, it just becomes so familiar that it
Mm-hmm.
becomes easy to stay there. It is hard to look the life outside because that life outside, those emotions, those boundaries, those um, limiting beliefs is hard to look. It's so unfamiliar, it's so unnatural. And the longer you live, the stronger those bonds are. Fear,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, I'll give you a link. There's a poem by Ram Dass. I don't know if you know about Ram Dass. He was one of the Harvard scholars. He was a professor, then he went into a spiritual journey, and it's a beautiful story. But he uh, he shared a poem in one of his lectures that touched me so deeply, and it's about fear and love, how he compares love and fear, beautiful. And but one of the things he says is that fear talks you into logic and reasoning. It will always give you logic. When you stop yourself doing something, you're telling yourself logic and reasoning,
Yeah.
and it will and it'll, they talk about dreams, but love will always expand you. Like fear, you will feel getting strength in your own body, and that's how you separate whether you're operating from fear. When you're feeling that strength, that you're being made small in fear, love is always expensive. You just want
Mm,
to give, like, you want to, like, sometimes you meet people and you'll be like, oh, I love that person. And, there's a emotion and you want to give everything, you want to give out, and then your mind stops. No, 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 don't give. That person will take advantage of you. It
right.
just creeps in those logic and reasoning. But I'll share that link later on, put it in the chat. I mean, in your notes for people to listen. It's a beautiful poem. It is more. I mean, I don't have the words more powerful than to transform yourself, moving away from fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Because like you said, fear is crippling. You said it so great. It when you literally start to think about the scary things, you literally start to feel like you're shrinking in yourself. Like, oh
Mhm.
my goodness, what's going on? And it's interesting because when people get scared, don't they do like the body movement, like what's this?
Mm.
Like you try to go inside your shell. But yes, when you operate from the energy of loving what you do, loving these connections, loving like next level opportunities, you really do put yourself in a space where you feel so expansive and like you start to shine like a bright light, and nobody can take that away from you. And that's
Mm.
what this conversation, this series is about, is tapping into like your inner self in knowing like we are all one soul, like you speak about, we are all one. And I'm gonna use your words directly. I put them on my sticky notes so I wouldn't mess them up. You said all the drama that is going on is different from who we are.
Mm.
Psh,
Mm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All that drama is different from who we are.
Mm. Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll share one something that happened to me a couple days, like 2 days ago. Um, Sunday, yeah, Sunday. So I saw a post from somebody who I'm connected on LinkedIn. I've never had a chance to have a one-on-one conversation, but we have, interacted on the each other's post, sent comments and DMs, and I saw her postings. A, she made a post about a prayer. It was Sunday, so it was a post that I'm sharing this prayer with you. And it felt so nice. And I thought to myself, I'm going to share a prayer for this person, right? And so I said, I'll get ready and make a video and share that prayer in form of the video. And as I went into shower, I had this question. I wasn't thinking, but a question came like, what is your intention of creating that prayer? Why do you want to do that for her? I asked myself question, and I heard, I want her to see me.
Mm.
And I was like it was already profound for me. But the next line blew me away. The next line that came in another moment, just a moment later, maybe you don't want her to see you. Maybe you want you to see you, and you are doing all this charade of going and creating, doing
Mm.
things. That's all we want. We
Right.
want ourselves to see ourselves, feel worthy, but we always try to get that validation externally, which is human. At some level, it is human. But the moment you start to be enough for yourself, the moment you start to see yourself, like try this crazy thing, stand in front of the mirror and just
Yep.
look in your eyes, like try to look in who is there behind those eyes, like really engage yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes. A little shake you. It won't be easy because after a minute or two, you will be like, oh, I don't want to see that. But keep looking, keep looking.
Yep.
Try to get beyond those eyes, and you will be amazed to see what is behind and who you are. And that will be
Yeah.
shifting. You would not, you would have to put the reps into go, keep going in that way. But it is the only way you start seeing yourself and not needing. And when you don't need anybody to see you, oh
I
man,
mean,
everybody wants to see you.
no, that's literally how this goes. That's what I've been noticing in the business. As long as I operate from my truth, as long as I wake up every day and say, Breye'l, how can you become more? How can you become more? What does becoming more look like for you? For me personally, becoming more looks like boosting my confidence to take my business global. Becoming
Mm,
more looks like being more consistent in those tasks that I really see help me move my business forward, right? Becoming
mm,
more means taking myself in a space where I do more things that scare me a little bit because I understand that if I can get some of these experiences, I can help other people work through some of these like business challenges. And as I do those things for myself, right,
mm,
I recognize, wait a minute, everybody else want to be around me. Like I'm the cool kid now. Like I think about in high school, my life totally was back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all want me.
mm,
Right. And so it's like the shift, and that's why it is the responsibility for people who, like, I know that, and it always happens. There are going to be people that's listening to this conversation right now that's like, they're talking to me. They're talking to
mm,
me. So if we're talking to you, the responsibility is now in your hand to recognize your journey and to start falling in love with yourself. So then
mm,
that way, inevitably, when you go out in the world, so many positive people, because that's a part as well. Women operate out of fear because we're emotion based. And so when they're scared, their emotions are going to get hurt. Somebody's going to hurt my feelings. I don't want to go out there and then they say no to me. And then I'm crying. Sometimes life is great and you're crying, right? So when we tap more into who we are, tap more into the things we love, and like you said at the beginning of the conversation, going back to people who've already experienced certain things in the past, right? And seeing, how do I connect with their story? How do I connect with seeing that we're all connected, but life is so much bigger, but we're still all connected. And it's my job to play my role to be that one good so I can attract myself to other good. Because it's only
mm,
really when you're doing bad that you attract yourself to bad. If you're being lazy, you'll attract yourself to other lazy people, right? And
mm,
even when we're on a good path, if you do find like the contrast, it's okay because I look at life as a mirror. The moment I meet somebody who energy rubs me the wrong way a little bit, I say, look in the mirror because what about them can you see in yourself?
Mm,
And how can you ensure that you don't operate like that and you become better as an individual?
mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. And all of this, like, just becoming or owning yourself, there are two things that I want to add to what you said. One
Mhm.
is, this, uh, you know, when you want to get better, having this notion of what can I do more or who can I become more
Right,
is wonderful because it gives you that motivation to, ask the deeper questions. But then beyond that, the next question or the next thing is knowing that, or starting with this thing that I am already more, right?
right,
I am what I want to, instead of putting it into the future, claiming that power now, like I am already all that there is in this moment. And when you
right,
come to that um, stand grounds, like when you form your ground with that feet that knows that I'm already all in this moment,
right,
takes your fears away and you're able to step in and then asking, okay, what can I bring out of all this isness that is there
right,
to offer to the world, right? Then you
right.
are not in fear, like you can bring out, it brings a different energy in you because you're not going to lose anything. You're already like you are that fountain, that river that already has it all. And you're just going to give it a few more drops to outside. And, living from that mindset helps, like having these subtle shifts in your journey. When in your beginning, you have a different thing. But as you grow, you have to come to a place where this moment becomes enough. Like you become enough,
Yes,
everything. You come with that power that maybe it's not going my way, but I'm still all. Like, I am this moment, and there's nothing powerful than that can happen in this moment. In fact, one of the things that shifted me myself was um, hearing this man speak on a podcast. He said, you know, he said, you and me are just this moment, not the moment before, not the moment after, just this moment, because after this moment, we don't know what's going to happen. And
right.
what we don't know is all our prediction, our projection. And but reality is here in this moment. And if I am all I can be in this moment, I am enough.
I am
So,
enough. Yes.
I know I keep going back to the same message, but I want to make sure the women, the queens, the goddesses in this community, they recognize and ground themselves into their power of being all in this moment and all in this moment and being enough. That's it. There's nothing more. There are
Yes.
tactical things you could do, but it all starts with this foundation of I am all in this moment. I came prepared.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. We can wrap it up right there. Cause I'm telling you, you just did it. You just did it. Oh my goodness. This talk was it was great. And the ending was so powerful just now because ladies, you heard it from the mouth of a king. You heard it. He said it, right? It is what it is. You're already enough. And the moment that you can step into that, the moment, and that's what I love. It's like the moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, right? If you continue to just sit with this moment, not that moment, but this one right now, this particular second, and just continue to tap into the reality that you are enough, that will surely fuel you, right? To be in a space where when you feel rejuvenated, when you feel well, you create from such a more powerful business. I mean, you create from such a more powerful space, right? And so now, ladies, after listening to this message, the takeaway I would love for you to start to do every day as you tap into your new reality is to affirm every day, I am enough, and to also affirm, I came prepared. Oh my goodness. Manpreet, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. You will be back on the Create and Grow Your Dream Business podcast because what the ladies need this talk. Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, I will. And before I tell them, I just had this one amazing thing to share, if you allow me. Um, one of in it'll help you recognize, because all moments are different, and just because I'm sharing these bold statements doesn't mean I always have it easy. I'm always honed in. So all I want to say is, when you have those rough moments, just give yourself grace, that you allow yourself to feel those rough moments, and then tell yourself, one more moment I want to feel I'm enough, one more moment. And by moment and moment, moments will turn into days, days into weeks, weeks into
Yep.
months, months into years, and years into life. So, but it'll start with the moments. Um, One of the principles that has helped me is, um, if we look around everything that's happening around us, this existence, and if we assume for a moment that this is all somebody has written, all this play has been written, and we are participating in this play, just like, everything in the nature, is the trees, the air, the fire, the water, everybody's playing their role. So knowing that you have a part in this play, that means you have a part. That means you are required for this play to unfold.
Mm-hmm.
That means you are not a mistake. You are divine necessity of this part of this bigger play. And just leaning into, I am a divine necessity of this play, will give you another way you will find your power, that you not mistake. I may not know all the answers. I may not see everything happening the way I want, but I am still required. I am still a divine necessity. So I want to leave you with that. The best way to find me is on LinkedIn. Breye'l will kindly share that in the links. You can search me, Manpreet Bawa. Um, I think I'm the one that you find. There are not too many Manpreet Bawas on LinkedIn so far. So you can feel free to reach me there. Uh, very shortly, I'll be releasing my first email publication, like weekly email publication. I'm still working on it. When I have that, I'll share with Breye'l. I'll share any of these in this email. My objective is to share what wisdom comes through to me weekly that makes me shift, and with a objective that as it's shifting me, I can share. So maybe if it shifts one of you in one of those moments, that is enough for me. So
Yeah,
thank you, Brill,
totally.
for having me. I loved this conversation. I just loved being around your energy, being uh, in energy of all the queens that will be listening. And I just hope we all give ourselves, or we all allow ourselves to see ourselves. With much love. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So this is going to wrap up our podcast episode. Ladies, I know you love this. And if you did, it's not even an if, because I know you did. That's just how this goes, right? Share this with a friend. Listen to this over and over and over, because that's one practice that I know helps me become more, that helps me see myself and that helps me know that I'm enough is that when I tap into high level conversations like these and I just listen to them over and over on my bad days and on my good days, I'm always so much more able to take my confidence to the next level. So until next time, ladies, and again, gentlemen, I'm so happy as always to be your host of the Create and Grow Your Dream Business podcast. Like, share, subscribe on any network that you're listening to. And until next time, we'll see you later.